Hey everybody, KC here. So I'm coming to you today from the Private Label Manufacturers Association Annual Meeting and Leadership Conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. And a really terrific conference, really interesting people. I just finished facilitating a session on the subject of authentic ethnic foods and private label, trying to figure out where the trends are, where things are going. Needless to say, because we're talking about authentic ethnic foods, a lot of them imported, so there was some conversation about tariffs, as one would expect. And really, one of the things that I thought was really fascinating about it was, first of all, pretty much everybody in the meeting was spending an awful lot of time on the phones, online, trying to figure out the impact of tariffs. And I just got some really good advice about this, right? Take a breath. We really don't know how it's all going to play out. Most of these companies are going to have anywhere from 60 to 90 days to deal with it. Most of the countries are going to have 60 to 90 days to deal with it. They normally don't get implemented right away. So let's see how things turn out. There was another interesting comment that was made, which is that, just because a food is ethnic doesn't mean it has to be imported. What may be more important than source of product was actually the authenticity of the taste. And in some cases, there are going to be products that you're going to be able to grow here in the United States. They're going to provide the same taste profile as products that are being grown outside the United States. Now, there's a lot of products like that. You can't possibly grow enough avocados in the United States to make the kind of guacamole that people need or want to eat. But so there's, it won't work in every case. But there were sort of workarounds, some hacks that people were suggesting. But the other thing that I thought was really, really important, and yes, this applies to ethnic foods, it applies to private label, but I think it applies to everything. One of the questions that came from the audience was, how important is authenticity? Can authenticity actually sometimes be a negative? Which I thought was fascinating. And the suggestion was, let's say, Japanese plums, okay? People in the United States might not be familiar with the taste of Japanese plums. That taste may be kind of specific. Is it better to, this is not the phrase they use, but is it better to water them down a little bit, add a little strawberry to a Japanese plum drink or a Japanese plum candy? Is it better to add a little, watermelon to it? And it was interesting. Lupio Ramirez of Northgate Markets had a very specific response to that, which was, no, you shouldn't do that. He basically thought that it's incredibly important, if you're going to be authentic, to be specific. And watering things down actually ends up watering down the impact of sales. And what this really ends up meaning, right, is you have to do a little bit of storytelling. You have to talk about a product's origin. You have to talk a little bit about the taste profile. You have to get people to sample it. This is true in all foods. But it's really interesting in the case of private label, and listen, almost every category of the food store is going to be affected by tariffs, assuming they go into effect the same way they've been threatened. Private label could end up being a winner on this because they're simply going to be able to, while the prices may go up, they may not have to go up in the store as much as national brands, right? Retailers are going to, because their margins are different, retailers may be able to hold the line on prices a little bit. It could mean that a year from now, when this meeting gets back together again, they may be looking at a year in which, yes, there was some pain, but private label was able to deliver a little bit less pain than some national brands. And there was one projection that said that, listen, by 2033, 30% of grocery sales could be in private label. Well, you never know. Based on how tariffs go, and the speaker who made that prediction, what didn't even refer to tariffs, but based on how tariffs go, it could be higher than 30%. That's going to be a challenge for retailers and a challenge for the private label business to sort of get in line and figure out, how do we maximize the moment? Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.